What's up? What's up? What's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. I really should go get my charger. Nobody in here yet. Let me go get my charger. I'll be right back. No, I don't want to end it. Should I just pause this, guys? You know what? We may not have the sounds today. We're just gonna keep it rolling. So today we talking about this hustle culture, and I just been seeing a lot of people emotionally breaking down in this economy. I've been seeing a lot of people emotionally breaking down in this economy. So, first of all, OCOs, I need you. Let me stop being disrespectful. Sending love to the ancestors, sending love to everyone around the world. I hope y'all having a good, positive day, up and in good spirits as always. I'm your host, Dr. Chief the Sunflower, and welcome to this podcast, the Hood to Hood podcast, where we are about positive vibes only. Positive vibes only. What the hell is that? What did I just do? What the hell is that, bro? So, coming alive is free to join this podcast because I'm doing it live. The only thing is, we do request that people who come in and listen to tap those hearts, share the podcast, comment, because it really does help this channel grow. It helps the page grow, and it helps us find more like-minded people, more needy, who are seeking this knowledge, and people who are still maybe under the matrix, under the spell, if you know what I'm talking about. Okay. So that's what we doing right now. I think I'm gonna go get my charger, y'all. I'm gonna go get my charger. Break the spell. What's up? What's up? I've been one. Y'all, I gotta go get my charger for my tablet because I really need it. So. I hope that didn't take too long, y'all. I hope that did not take too long. But I kind of need my freaking tablet to help tell this story that we're about to tell. Alright, so now we set up, we good to go. Do you allow guests to get on your live? I will be allowing guests to get on my live on TikTok. I just haven't figured out how. But yes, if they come in with positive energy and they have something to contribute, of course. I just can't figure it out on TikTok. So every time I think I figured it out, I didn't. And it's probably one little simple button, but definitely. So make sure you follow on TikTok. With YouTube, I don't think it's possible just because I multi-stream using Streamlabs. So I probably can't do it on YouTube. But if you follow me on TikTok, that's something I will be implementing pretty soon. It's allowing the guests to be on the live. And yes, we have to break the spell, guys. That's what we kind of talking about today, is breaking the spell. All right. So welcome to the podcast. We're going to get these positive vibes flowing. Y'all already know what time it is. It's the Hood to Hood podcast. And today we'll be getting into, just hustle culture. Because I know it's a lot of people online. People live in secrecy. This economy is terrible. No matter who you are. It's a terrible economy. Dr. Shon is always live. And I just wanted to check in with the tribe to let y'all know you gotta keep going regardless. You gotta break this code because it's meant for you to fail. Just remember that it's meant for you to fail. That's right. Say it again. Telling our story, yeah, this is proof. History talking, wisdom revived. This ain't just a lie, this is life. Yes, Lord, I feel that. Talk to him, all the way live, all the way live. Hang with the tribe, hang with the tribe. Hood to hood, hood to hood. We survive. Talk to them. Hey, video effects are fire. Thank you. I gotta say, okay, before we get into this, I was in a live yesterday because I go to other people's lives, so it made me realize when I go live, I don't want to be disrespectful to people, so I just block people before I be disrespectful. Because I was in the live yesterday, and I thought this lady was teaching some Nietzsche history, and I thought she was talking about the American Indians, and she looked like me, and I was just like, oh yeah, you talking about, and she just was like, sit the fuck down, and I'm like, I said, this is so rude. Y'all get on live, and y'all be getting on here rude to people. I don't like that shit, okay? Y'all just be too rude. If you don't want to answer people respectfully, just block them. That's my whole thing. Y'all taking this live shit too serious. I just had to get that out there because I was on her live, and she was spitting good knowledge, but it was just too aggressive. It was too, like, I don't know what it is, and I realized I don't want to be the aggressive teacher. Like, if you don't want to hear what I got to say, just stroll. I'm not here to argue with nobody. I'm here to talk to my audience, my tribe, my village. I'm here to talk to the hooded, village. The people who trying to elevate and grow somewhere. I'm not here to try to argue and curse you out because you don't, that's too much. So, just the FYI for y'all live people out there, y'all be rude as hell sometimes. So, I had to quickly unfollow her, even though she was giving good information. She was just too aggressive. Okay, what's up, love? Loves me. Thank you for liking the live. So we talking about hustle culture is a trap, and most people don't even know why. Why am I talking about this today? Can I listen to that song on YouTube? I'll put it on YouTube. I can put it on YouTube. Yeah, that's a good idea, because that is our theme song. So I'll put that on YouTube. That wouldn't take me but a second, So we're talking about hustle culture, and most people don't even know why they feel trapped inside of this hustle culture. They feel trapped inside something that we, call the matrix, whatever you want to call it, colonization, the matrix. It has different names. It has different identities, but spiritually, you know what the hell I'm talking about. That spirit that makes you go to work all month just to pay the rent, just to have a roof, and then you're like, damn, what's going on with the price? What's going on with inflation? This is not non-intentional. This is very intentional by the government. And I'm always ranting on the government because they are the ones who are holding the token to suppress you, to oppress us, and to make people feel broken spirited. It's so sad. Thank you, Love Loves Me, for hyping it up on TikTok. I see you tapping those hearts. I appreciate it. Always showing so much love. We almost to our daily goal of 1K. Hey. So listen, guys. If you feel tired, not just physically, but spiritually, that's how I feel, to be honest. It's so much knowledge going on. Today, I just pretty much slept all day because I've been super exhausted. But I made an oath to myself and a vow to myself to come and at least talk to the tribe once per day. I've been trying to do this for a whole year, and if you first you don't succeed, you just keep trying again. So this is me continuing to try to show up every day because I think it is the missing link to the puzzle. We can get so burnt out in this society nowadays that you might feel so heavy and tired and physically drained, and you're like, we got all this knowledge. I see people typing it in the comments sometimes. They be like, well, we got all this damn knowledge. What are we doing with it? We just gonna keep sharing it on TikTok, getting your page, man, everybody trying to tell everybody think they the right one. What are we doing with this knowledge that is breaking colonization? Because the colonizers still going around the world bombing people. They still going around the world colonizing people. They still going around the world making you go to work for cotton. And maybe that's why I'm tired, because I'm still a little under the weather. But they still make you go to work 40 hours a week for wages that have not kept up with inflation, and the wages are so far behind inflation. But yet and still they're doing war, things that raise inflation, things that raise the cost of living, and everybody looking bamboozled right now. It ain't just our tribe that's looking bamboozled. Everybody looking bamboozled because the government done fucked around and found out that, dang, we really messed up. You got even people who don't look like us complaining about going to work. They tired of taxes. Listen, y'all built this system from war, and it's still war. Somebody showed a flag. I think it was Getty. I don't know if y'all know about Getty, but today he showed the 3 flags. And I wish I had put it on the screen. But he showed the flag, the American flag with the gold fringe, and this was the United States, is it military flag? The one, if you see that flag with the gold fringe in the videos when Trump is talking, that means that's a war flag. Then they have the one without the gold fringe. This is also, this is a military flag. Then they have some flag that is it's called a peace flag. And I was like, I didn't really dig too deep in it, but it just tied together to let us know we literally prisoners of war. They don't use that word, but you got to call a spade, bro. If you going to work every day paying rent, our ancestors did this. They forced them into the rent line. They forced them to jump off the bridge, and everybody just jumping off the bridge. I be so pissed, and when I think about it, because I didn't come from a traditional setting. I didn't come from living with my parents. I didn't live with my mom ever, really. Maybe when I was, 1, 2, 3, because she was 14 years old when she had me, so she wasn't really a grown up herself. I couldn't live with her. We was always living with grandma or somebody. And then when she got older, I moved in with my dad's mom. Okay? My dad, I never lived with my dad. Never lived with my dad. So I didn't have that connection. So we have a lot of people who go through these traumatic events, and then when you get older, the system is set up to make you rush and go get a job. We rush and go get rent. We rush into the assembly line. And nobody ever told me, dang, don't rush into the assembly line. That's why I feel like these kids are going crazy. The attention span is short as hell. Kids are unaliving themselves, and this is facts. They teenagers taking themselves out because they can't take the world. They can't take it. People can't take it. I see it all down the town. Like people like, I don't know what I'm working for no more. You working for nothing if you don't transform your knowledge and your spirit. Because knowledge is the true wealth. Even when I was in elementary school, we used to sing this song that I will never forget. It said, knowledge is the power. Now that I'm in my true identity, American Indian identity, I'm breaking the change. Every single day something get broken. People think it's one generational curse. They like, oh, and I used to say this too, I'm a generational curse breaker, but then you realize there's a million damn curses. Oh, you got to keep going. You can't just fall down because you broke one curse. You can't give up because you broke a couple curses in the family and you thought that was it. No, they got millions of generational curses on top of your head. You really got to be spiritually aligned and in tune. When I broke that curse across the stage as a dentist, I thought that was it. I was like, yeah, I made it. Where the laughing button at? I was like, yeah, I'm there. People look at me like, yeah, you successful. Yeah, I'm successful. I'm intelligent, but I'm still generationally cursed because I gotta go to work for what? Money. Cotton. Something our ancestors already left us and owned. It's crazy. It's really crazy. It's really crazy. So if you feel tired, it's not physically, it's not just physically, it is a spiritual warfare. It's a spiritual warfare. If you feel like no matter how hard you work, you still behind, that is not not on purpose. Okay? That's not laziness. That's not failure. That is by design. And I'm here to let you know you're not alone and you gotta keep going. You're not gonna keep going on a hamster wheel where you keep working yourself. We gotta do something as a collective, as a unit. Getting on TikTok and doing all this sharing the knowledge is great, but that's step one, guys. When I looked at that case from last year with the Native Americans, Britannians trying to go and get those benefits, they were going to court, they were having paperwork, it's like, what? We inherit the curses from all our prior ancestors, things they didn't master. I don't think that they didn't master the things. I think that they mastered silence. They mastered not selling us out. And I had it mistaken. I was like, dang, my ancestors failed, but they was under war. We still under war, We inherited war. We still under war. When you realize that we still under war, and when you a citizen of the government, you basically like their slave. They chattel slave. Right? Because you got to pay taxes to this immigrant government. You got to go work and pay rent. They done stole the land. They made it impossible to grow food. They made it impossible to do all these things if you don't have the knowledge. And that's what I realized. Knowledge is the power, guys. It seemed like everything else is the power. It seemed like, money is powerful, but money is not all the power. Because you see people who have millionaires, billionaires. You'll see even some dentists go and take themselves out. They got all the money in the world. It's a spiritual warfare. Something money can't really solve. And my relationship with money has changed ever since I learned about the people's faces that they put on their money and how evil they were. I know that ain't connected to nothing spiritual that's going to help me. Yeah, I use it as a tool. You just use it as a tool. I learned to see anything as a tool. Whatever is leaving your life, let it go. Let it flow. Don't make it feel like you a failure. Don't let it make you feel like you broken. Oh my God, I can't pay this high ass rent. So what? Bye rent. Don't let it attach to your spirit. You here to do something greater with a purpose. So I will never let no bills or none of this stuff attach to my spirit. We live in a subscription culture right now. We live in a hustle culture right now. Everybody doing too much. And sometimes it could just be information overload. Thank you for tapping those hearts, Golden Goddess, and Love loves me. Under the current regime, we are all equally uncomfortable. So that brings me some comfort. Before, it was just our people, us from this land. Facts! 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 Everybody going and suffering from what war has done, from what colonizers have done, right? They told us to work smarter. They told us to work harder. They said work harder, hustle more. If you ain't hustling more, then something wrong with you. If you ain't, sleep, if you sleep, then no. Nobody ever stopped and said, what if the system is hustling us from the inside out? What if it was never built for us to win? And you already know that it wasn't. It was never built for my ancestors to win. Even when my ancestors didn't rely on a system and they started winning and overtaking and doing better than the system got mad and ended that. They said, "Oh no, you can't be independent. We need you to need us." How that work? The colonizer needs you to need them. They need you to pay taxes. They need you to stay blind. Like Frederick Douglass said, he said, knowledge makes us unfit to be slaves. But if you don't have knowledge, you're not seeking knowledge, you are very fit to be a slave. If you wake up every day in the hustle culture, they done broke your spirit, you are very fit to be a slave. Because mentally, you're not prepared. Spiritually, you're not protecting your energy. You're not setting boundaries with this fake-ass pseudo-knowledge to what the real deal is. You're not going and keeping your ancestors' name alive by doing that genealogy research. I didn't say doing no DNA research, because then you asking the colonizer who you are again. And you never ask the enemy who you are. You never let the enemy tell you who you are. And right now the enemy telling everybody who they is. You a citizen. You black. You African. They telling you everything that you are. Are you telling who yourself and your spirit who you are every day? I'm amazing. My ancestors were amazing. My ancestors fought through some straight up BS. I know where I come from in the southeast region. The Mississippi mound builders, the Choctaw, the Creek, the Seminole, all these people, 99.9% of them are asleep. I know this for a fact. Why are they asleep? Because they got the military still there. They got the police. They got the patrol. People feel constant anxiety every day, and you don't know why. Because they still got the military presence there. When I go home, I feel the military presence. I'm like, damn, where all these polices come from? It just give me anxiety to go out at night. It's just a whole nother feeling when you being oppressed, and they have made you feel like oppression is normal. They have made you feel like paying rent. Just think about this, guys. Just think about this. Divide and conquer. They divide the tribe. They made everybody, it made it illegal for the father to be in the house. They're going to give the resources to the melanated people, but the father can't be there. But when they give the resources to the pretending Native Americans, do they have those same requirements where the father can't be there? You know, everything they give you is not really a helpmate. It's not really to help you. I thought about, you know, when we've been, you know, generationally cursed to kick the kids out, to go to work, because this was a law. This is a slave code. You had to have a job back then, or you was going to be unalive, put in the jail, because these were slave codes. And they still got the slave codes right now. They just don't call them that. They call it unemployment. Right? They say your spirit is too free. You got to be employed by colonization. Why aren't you at work? You lazy. You a failure if you ain't working yourself to death. Why does the tribe divide up? I have over 1,000 tribal members on this land. Meaning I have family members on this land. All my genealogy research, all separate. And I thought, dang, even in just my immediate family, once we all get out and pay rent, some people buy a house, you doing all this money and you giving it to the colonizers for your own land, guys. And they have took the rent up so high to the point where it is ridiculous. You literally working for nothing if you don't have more than a couple side hustles and you not really going hard for yourself. If you're not actively trying to break those chains and get out of the matrix by any means necessary. So think about this. They took the rent up to $2,000 a piece. Say you got 10 family members, and y'all know at least 10 family members or friends who live separately paying $2,000 a piece for rent, right? I'm just going to say 10, but I told y'all I know thousands of family members. Imagine if we was still a village with no rent on our land. We just growing crops. We doing what we best at, agriculture, making our own food, making our own clothes from the Egyptian cotton. Okay, imagine that. But you got 10 people paying $2,000 a month just for rent. Now these cousins, whoever you want to say, we all in the hustle culture. That's $20,000 a month that you giving away, just 10 members of the tribe, to whoever owned the rent, whoever they done gave the land to for free. Now in a year, those 10 family members have paid $240,000. Do you know what they could get if they wasn't renting and they used that $240,000 to get a property, maybe build a little community? Do you know how much money would save? Do you know how the children would be empowered? Do you know what that does to the community when you can see your family members, but they got you all going to work, you got you all going to church, you in love with your church members more than your own tribe. They got you all bamboozled. That's not laziness. That's not failure. That is design. That's design. Okay? It's design. Yeah. So hustle culture didn't come from, this feeling of from empowerment. It's not an empowering thing. It came from survival, guys. For generations, people who had no choice but to produce. And our ancestors were forced by this government to produce for this government so that they could become millionaires and billionaires for free off of our backs. And they still silent about it. They still giving benefits. They giving free education, all of these health benefits. They giving all of our benefits to the immigrants because they're immigrants. The government is immigrants, so they're going to look out for immigrants, right? The whole lie is they wanted us to think that nobody was on this land and that we was immigrants too, but we going to be the immigrants you're going to get nothing to. Why is that? Why is that? Why we the immigrants that, if we so-called immigrants, why we ain't getting nothing? Because you're not an immigrant. This is your land, guys. It's your land, right? They make you grind so hard. They want you to ignore your pain. You can't even go and get, you can't even talk to nobody about it. You just sit in your house because you feel like everybody just on the internet grinding. You see everybody on the internet. The attention span is short as hell. And now we call that motivation. Now I'm the motivational dentist. I had that name way before I became into my true indigenous identity. I still motivate people, but motivation is not enough when you got generational curses. It's not enough. Knowledge is the answer. And I had to realize that last week. No matter how much material things I got, if I don't have any knowledge, what am I? What am I, guys? Remember what Frederick Douglass said? He said, if you got knowledge, you're unfit to be a slave. If you have no knowledge, guess what you are? You might not call yourself that, but the system call you that. They call you that. They're just playing mind games. That was the point of this whole system. Facts. We're experiencing soft colonization through mass immigration. Facts. Facts. They now they don't have to do nothing to you for you to be a slave. They don't gotta do nothing to you for you to be a slave. They still got their military presence. They still got their police officers. They still got their patrol, their slave patrol out now. It ain't like we just sitting here. They already, we so calm now. Everybody's so calm. They're scared for these American Indians to wake up because they're going to be mad. They're going to be mad. Like I told you, I'm probably one of the first people in my family to wake up that I know about. And I know that can be very emotionally challenging. It's very emotionally challenging for me, but I have to find my tribe. Once I get knowledge, I can't go back to sleep. Once you get knowledge, you can't go back to sleep. That's what make me not a slave, because I got too much knowledge. I don't even let slave-minded people, hey, I don't want to hear that slave shit. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it because you don't have enough knowledge. You don't have a license to tell me about even Christianity, because I know more about the Christianity history than I would have ever believed. And it ain't like it's a big secret. It's right in your face, but you got to go and get the knowledge. If you don't go get it, you are more than fit to be a slave. Congratulations. Congratulations. You turned yourself into a slave. Okay? It takes all these people coming together to colonize us, to keep us down. They have to work that hard. Facts. When you go to the United Nations in New York City, and I just was there for my birthday, it's at least 100 flags. All of these people colonized us. All of these people getting the benefits. They over here calling themselves more American than you. They calling you an African American. They say you from Africa. You ain't even supposed to be here. What they saying, and you actually from this land. You're from this land. This is the most biggest world secret ever on the earth. Everybody oppressing us. We're from this land, and we're working the hardest for this land to take care of the immigrants on this land. Does that make any damn sense? Do y'all think that system is gonna be work forever? Everybody except our tribe who came into the truth is crashing out all over the place. And I love it. Facts. I love it. She Ready 89 said, exactly. I love it. I love it. And I love it. And I love it. That's why I'm so calm and collect, because I know the truth. I know the lie. I'm here. What's going on? She Ready? It's me, Shay, from Facebook. Okay. How you feeling today, Shay? You came into a heated conversation. All right. So let's talk about the emotional connection, because you're not crazy for feeling burnt out. You're not weak for needing rest. You're carrying something deeper than those deadlines they got you with. Of course I would. Thank you so much for the rose. So if you ever felt like you working nonstop, you not getting ahead, your mind feels overloaded like mine does sometimes, you don't even know what peace feels like, and you need a reset, I want you to put reset in the chat. Even if you watch it on the replay, reset. Let me know I ain't talking to myself. Okay? So tonight we're going to go a little bit deeper about hustle culture. We're going to go a little bit deeper about the psychological aftermath of generational systems, what we call generational curses. Because words are spells, and a lot of people don't know that what the words they put on you is a spell put on you. We learned last week that the word job in is it Hebrew means persecution. So every time you go have a job working for people, this is persecuting yourself, especially if it's not like your business or it's something that you don't love. Now I'm not talking about the people who find their passion, find their purpose, and they doing something they love. But how many of us is that? You doing something you love, you have an increased quality of life, you know the knowledge. That ain't a lot of us. Reset. I see reset in the chat. Right? And we're going to talk about how to reclaim your mind, your time, and your spirit. Welcome. I know I'm not. Okay? Because I want y'all to say this with me. To reclaim your time, your mind, and your spirit. Because this might change how you see yourself. You know. You say this. I am my ancestors' wildest dreams. I know y'all heard that before. We are our ancestors' wildest dreams, but we're only our ancestors' wildest dreams if we got knowledge about who our ancestors truly were and what they went through all of these years. And when I did the research on the Native American benefits and how they get land trust given to them from the government, but the government is over them. They're not really in control. I said, I'm so happy my ancestors did not sell us out. I'm so happy they did not move. And I come from the Seminole territory. They call that the runaway slaves is what they call it, but that was really the Appalachian Indians. That's where I come from. I went to Appalachian Elementary School, not knowing that I'm an Appalachian Indian. I went to James S. Rickers High School, home of the Raiders, that they changed. I mean, home of the Redskins, but they changed to the Raiders. And yesterday I realized, damn, they changed the name from an Indian name to the Raiders, to the slave raiders, and it went over everybody's head. This is the type of hijack and disrespect that they're doing right now. Hustle culture sounds good, right? Until you realize it rewards you being exhausted. It glorifies you being burnt out, and it disconnects you from yourself and your family. How many mothers have to go to work, can't take care of their kids because they got to go hustle? I grew up in a household with my grandmothers, both of them. I lived with both of them. Custody battles, yada, yada, yada. They both were CNAs, right? And all I seen them do was work, overnight work. We never had enough, though. It was always paycheck to paycheck, payday loans, car payday, all of this stuff. It was never enough, though. They was stuck in the hustle culture. That was not by default. If you didn't know, back in the day, when they made it required for us to go to work, or they made it a law where you would go to jail or be beat, all these crazy ass Neanderthal laws, because we in a Neanderthal culture right now. We're not really in an indigenous culture, because indigenous cultures are agriculture. They are teachers. This is about connecting to people, not using people to come up off of them, right? It's just not. So that's why we in this hustle culture that disconnect you from yourself. It just disconnect you from yourself, and you get burnt out. So my grandmothers, these CNAs, they never had an opportunity to break out of that. So this get passed down to the kids. That's why me, when I got older, I was like, I can't be a CNA. I just didn't want to be, because I saw how hard it was for them to raise me, my grandmothers. I saw how hard they had to work overnight. And this is the hustle culture. So back in the day, when it was illegal for you not to have a job according to the slave codes, the only jobs you could have was in cooking, which you'll see a lot of people who now, even now, the result of this slavery experiment, even if you wasn't actually in chains, is still slavery. Your only job that you could have was to be a cook, right? A chef, a housekeeper, aka a maid. And what else could you do? Maybe like farm. You could go and pick your own cotton off your own land and hand it to them, and while they stole your land. Those are the jobs that you could normally have. That's why a lot of people get those jobs. Oh, yeah. And CNA. You could only be the assistant nurse. You couldn't be the nurse back then. You could be the assistant and do all the hard shit, but you couldn't be a doctor. You couldn't be a dentist. You couldn't be they banned all of that. They banned that. Just think about that. This pushes you into jobs that never going to help you. They don't want you to make no money. And then they put your kids through 12 years of school where they don't teach them no real indigenous history. They're teaching them that they were a slave. and that you just gonna go and be nothing and get out into the world and feel disconnected and burnt out and work yourself and pay rent for 40 years, and then when you get 60, 65, you realize, damn, I done worked my whole life for nothing. If the tribe never wakes up, this is the recipe. This is how generational curses go from generation to generation. This is why I call myself a generational curse breaker, and I don't care who don't, because I know that I am. I came from a culture where people were going from CNA, this is a required thing, and I said, I don't want to be that. My mom, before she passed away, this queen at the top, she said, you gonna be a doctor. Even though I had never seen a black doctor at 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, never seen him, never met one, she said, you gonna be a doctor. I don't know what she saw in me, but she saw something that was going to break a generational curse, not just for my family, but for multiple people, through the Hood to Hooded podcast. So many people reached out, dang, Dr. Shon, I went to dental school because I used to watch you. I remember when you went viral, you inspired me, and that makes me feel good because I didn't do this just for me. I did this to inspire other people to know that just because we come from something they say that we are, that ain't what you have to be. If I could do it with no parents, you could do the same thing. It's all a mindset. It's all about your knowledge. We can no longer glorify the hustle culture without glorifying the knowledge culture. We can't glorify the hustle culture if you're not going to glorify your indigenous culture. You see what they did there? They got you glorifying working hard, but not glorifying who you are. Period. Now that's a bar. They got you glorifying working hard, but they don't got you glorifying who you are. Like I said, that's a bar, boy. That's a bar, boy. That's a bar. Now, it's a bar because do they teach melanin in school? Do they teach about the largest organ on your body? Do they tell you that this melanin defense system is amazing? No, they tell you in school that this is something to hate. This is something they tell you that generationally that they hate, so you should hate it. You send your kids to school, they get bullied because they're melanated. They get bullied because they have a defense system that protects them from the sun. But you ain't telling them that. You so scared because you don't got no knowledge to tell your kids that. That's their defense mechanism. They don't teach that in school. I know because I'm a doctor and I done took almost every science class you can think of. Melanin is not the hot topic in school, but outside of school, it's very much a hot topic. Why you think there's so much hate right now? That's why. That's why. Right? You got people bragging, man, I only get 3 hours of sleep. I only get 5 hours of sleep. Why is it this way? Why is it this way? That's not discipline. That is dysfunction dressed up as success. You think you're successful because you're working hard. You don't barely get to see your kids. You're missing a basketball game. You ain't showing up. You ain't teaching them nothing. You allowing the school to teach them. That's how they want you exhausted when you get off. So they can teach your kids how to be a slave just like you. So they can teach them to be exhausted just like you. My mama was a hard worker. My grandma was a hard worker. This was a hard worker. When do we stop working so damn hard and start learning hard? When do we teach the kids to learn hard? Facts. Always be learning about yourself. That's why they focus so hard on stripping our identity away to keep us mentally chained. We by default are the blueprint. We're the only ones who haven't. Facts. We're the only ones who haven't. It's because we can't. Or I shouldn't say that we can't because we can, but it's going to be hard as hell. But so what? Our ancestors did it. Exactly. They ain't teaching nothing but BS anyways. They don't teach no financial literacy in school. You might have some now that the kids have fought because the kids want to learn this. They're not teaching that in school. They're not teaching indigenous culture in school. They're not teaching them how to get out of school and go and open a business. They're not teaching none of that. They're not teaching none of that. When I have children, they will be homeschooled. Same for me. If I ever have kids, they will definitely be homeschooled. They're going to be homeschooled. They're going to be graduating by the time they're 12. I could have did that. I feel like in my spirit, I could have been done with high school 12 years old. But the system slow our kids down so their kids can catch up. They ain't teaching them no manners. Facts. They just sit in school and teach them how to be bullied by society. They teach them how to get out and be attacked by the police. They send your kids to the prison pipeline. She's, I swear to God. I swear to God. And I said it just how you wrote it. I swear to God. School to prison pipeline left our homelands in mass. When Trump mentioned who we are, people really went apeshit and they hate ratcheted up. I don't know if I'm saying that word right. But you said a lot of good things. You said always be learning about yourself. Why they need so many pictures. You said that's why they focus so hard on stripping our identity away to keep us mentally chained. This is facts, guys. We are the blueprint for everything. This is facts, guys. Now tell me this now. This is for the people who still might be a little weary and they might think that they're from Africa. They might think they're a slave, all of this stuff. And you might be. I always say you got to do your own genealogy. I did my genealogy, so I can only talk for the people who did their genealogy, know they're American Indian, are trying to find out if this is your path. I don't know what everybody is. So if you hear, it's because I'm this, so that's who I'm talking about. I'm talking about my people. Why they need to walk on the left side of the hallway? Because they're training you to be a slave so you can go to prison and get in line. Everything is a corporation. It is a part of the government. They knew they had to put us in school. Because if we did our own school, taught our own kids, you know how smart they're going to be. They're going to be doctors at 10 years old. You already seen it before. I know what I'm saying, though. Right? Now, you said, I got to go back to this comment. Always be learning about yourself. And another thing that I recognize, you got to always learn about your enemy. You got to learn about your enemy, guys. Now, when I did this research on the Native Americans, I realized that before they came over here, they fought for segregation. Right. And I wish, I ain't going to say that because people take it the wrong way. You know, segregation, they didn't like that we was segregated. Even though they fought for us to be segregated. And when they realized we got segregated and did better, they said, no, we can't let them segregate. We got to bomb them. We can't let them have Black Wall Street. We can't let them have Seneca Village because they invented all this stuff. They built all this stuff. They're going to overtake us. We have to stop them from building. We have to tell them where they can live. Tell them where they can work. We can't let them read. Segregation, interracial marriage was the worst thing for us. Exactly. They took over everything that Black Panther started. They took over everything. Anytime they saw us doing better, they ended it. Just like now they see you doing better, they see you, they're going to try to end it. Free breakfast program, lunch program, WIC. They stole all of that from us. And most people don't know. Now, this is some research I did probably 2 years ago, and it ties to what we're talking about now. Most people don't know that when they were forcing us to go to work, there was no taxes. You didn't have to pay taxes, but they was forcing us to go to work or go to jail because they didn't want us to be free in the canoes, agriculture on our own land. They had to come and seize the land, say that it was theirs. They did eminent domain where they could sell your land, buy your land without your right, without your permission. So they had these type of laws that they call, I don't call them laws, I call it lies, that they had where they could take your whole land. Now you don't have nothing. A lot of Black people are the enemy. Yes, they still trying to do the same thing. Yeah, they still trying to do the same thing. A lot of us are the enemy because we don't have any knowledge. Force you off territory, Trail of Tears. Yes, they didn't force everybody off. That was also one of the biggest lies to, you know, make the Native Americans take our spot. Where I come from, Tallahassee, aka Florida, the Mound Builders, all of that, the Seminoles, the Creek, all of that. This is why I tell a story about the most blackest school in Tallahassee being called the Redskins. On the south side, what they called the bad side. I went to that school. This is why they were hijacking and say, oh no, we can't let them have this Indian mascot. The Redskins was the Indian mascot. It had the feather headdress, all that at a melanated school, mind you, right? Then in 2000, they changed it to the Raiders. And it just hit me yesterday because I know what the slave raiders are. I said, damn, they changed us from the Indian mascot to a fucking white man with a sword mascot at a black school. This is the hijack. And people don't get it. If you sleep, you don't get it. I didn't get it. So right now they got our kids out here celebrating the raiders who took and stole their indigenous identity. They brag about it. They don't want to tell the truth. They want to take those homelands. They want to keep stripping us. Right? Force you off the territory, Trail of Tears. They go get plastic surgeons to look like us. They sleep with our men for the kids to try to look like us. Oh my God, you saying a mouthful. Then it's very deep. And where I'm from, that is very much a thing. It's like interracial relations is very high in Florida. You know, it's very high. I had my biological brother, and I had two. I'll call them my brothers, but they step brothers. But all of them have white uh, relationships. You know what I mean? They all had mixed kids. None of them had black kids. This is in Tallahassee, so this is what's going on. It's just what's going on. You know what I mean? I don't. And in Tallahassee, you know, back in the day, Tallahassee has always been. I'm talking about Tallahassee because this is the heart of the Seminoles, the Indians who was never conquered, the Indians who didn't sign peace treaties, and this is why there's so much military force down there. But Tallahassee was 100% melanated. But they say this is the home of the Seminoles, the runaway slaves. And they got the whole city with the Seminoles, but they changed the Seminole from an Indian face to a white face, just like they did to the high school. So it's a lot of hijacking going on right now, and a lot of us are asleep and we don't know. We send our kids into the lion's den. And we don't even know it because we so sleep going to work. This is hustle culture. Trump know who he is. I saw a video today where Trump was like, those pretendians, he didn't say pretendians, he's like, they don't look Indian to me. People don't know what an Indian is because of colonization, because of white supremacy. This is the whole thing about white supremacy, is because they trick you out of your spot. How can white be supreme? What you're saying is white skin supremacy. How is that possible when you have no melanin? Melanin supremacy is what we should be calling it. If they had a chance to have melanin, you know, you would have it. Why wouldn't you want this defense system? But because you can't have it, it's a gene that they can't unlock. It's a gene that has been a mystery. It's a gene that is so magical. It's a gene that is so amazing. They cannot denature it. They can't denature it. And if you don't know what denature means, you know, when we in the science lab and we trying to figure out what makes up the DNA, you know, they have to denature it to see what the genes are, but that's one thing they can't denature. They have never been able to denature it. So because they can't denature it and do biological trafficking, where they can traffic your melanin, oh yeah, I know they've been trying to do it. They can't traffic your melanin, so they gotta make you hate your melanin. They gotta make you not want to learn about your melanin. They gotta make you look in the mirror and wish you didn't even have no melanin. Meanwhile, when you go out to the sun love your melanin. That's why you the sun people. That's why a place like Tallahassee, Appalachia, the southeastern Mississippi mound builders, Georgia, Alabama, all these new names. I don't even like to get caught up on the names, these fake lines. All of these new names don't mean nothing. These people, it's hot as hell. If you ever been to Florida, it's hot as hell. There's no way you could be indigenous to Florida without melanin. It just doesn't make sense. This is why when you go to a place like Tallahassee, home of those Indians that they now call the Seminoles, this is why you see nothing but melanated people was there before they came in before they came and colonized you. They made you hate that melanin. Now that's just some science for you, right? Look it up. Not gonna teach your kids this in school. They go to school and hate their melanin. They go to school. That's why a lot of people in Africa and Jamaica, they want to bleach their skin because they're colonized. They have fallen in love with white supremacy. A lot of people have fallen in love with white supremacy because white supremacy tell you that they're supreme and you are the slave. How the fuck you figure that when melanin is billions of years old? Melanin is billions of years old, man. Let's look it up. Melanin is billions of years old. Okay? It's billions of years old. Now, I just gotta... I know it's billions of years old because I already did this research, but I just want to get the real number. Alright, so melanin. Hold on, I'm missing a lot of things here. She ready? I'm about to sound off on everything you said. So you said a lot of black people are the enemy. Uh-oh. Facts. They force you off the territory Trail of Tears. Facts. Plastic surgery to look like us. Facts. They sleep with our men. Facts. They wear braids, dreads, etc. It looks like a mess. Facts. It's hot everywhere since I can't stand their ass. Yes, Seminoles are my favorite Native Americans. They buried them underneath. When we die, they steal our parts, steal our melanin. No airplane flew through the building. Yep, like Kim, Michael Jackson, etc. They came from monkeys and cavemen who are cannibals. They'll never be supreme. You said it, and I agree with it. Now it says same here in California. Now we have people whose land were colonized here now colonizing us. Facts. The irony, and they are ruthless and entitled to it, trying to force us beneath them on our own land. I always love my melanin. See me, I didn't always love my melanin. I was taught to hate my melanin. You gotta imagine a chocolate little girl like me going to school in Tallahassee. I was the source of attacks for the bullies. The source of attack for bullies, because they was trained at home and at school to hate melanin, right? I don't know why you are so beautiful. And when you were a kid, my mom used to say blacker the berry, sweeter the juice, but she left me at 7 years old. You don't have your mom, you don't have your dad. It creates a traumatic time for a child, especially being this dark-skinned, growing up in the South where colonization is at the all-time high. So is my cousin, but I beat everybody up about it. I know it. When I got older, and now I love my melanin now. You can't tell me shit. Now I know I have knowledge. But before, when I didn't have knowledge, guess what? They were teaching me to be a slave in school, which made me fit to be a slave in school because I did not have any knowledge. That's why I will forever be grateful for Frederick Douglass for saying that, and for me running into this quote. Sometimes if you're albino or even light-skinned, people are ignorant. Facts. I ran into that quote, and I won't ever forget it. The knowledge is going to make me unfit to be y'all damn slave. I don't care what you do. I'm not your slave. I know too much. And that's the problem. That's why they want to shut TikTok down. They want to ban all the chiefs talking shit to their ass. They want to censor everything because guess what? This is a technological warfare now. Even the algorithms colonized. You got to know this. The algorithms are even colonized. Some people break through, but it's colonized. As long as you shaking, long as you twerking, I'll say. Long as you, if I was on here like, I'll be violent, you know what I mean? But when you knowledge, it's hard because knowledge is blocked out, right? So melanin is not a new or recent gene. People don't know. Melanin is a gene. I did a little studying today, and the chief had me looking into some crazy shit today, y'all. I was like, what? I can't even show it on live because they was like, this is a big secret. They didn't want nobody to know about their history. But there's this family called quadrupedal people. Look it up for yourself. It's a YouTube video. I was like, what the hell? It's 4 people in a family over there in, they call it the fake India, which was Buddhistan. There's a group of secret family over there. They still walk on all fours. And he told me this morning. I was like, what the fuck? And I didn't really believe it. When he tell me stuff, I'd be like, huh? And when I saw them walking on all fours, they had hands and they was walking like this. And they had their hands was basically, their feet was their hands. They had the same thickness on their hands as their feet. Was so creepy that. And they said that this group of family is evolving backwards is what they call. So they were evolving back to their ape form, their Neanderthal form, and they're actually alive right now. Look it up. Quadrupedal people, I think it is. Quadrupedal tribe. Look this up. Yes, I heard about them. And I'm like, what the hell? And they was like, hey, it's not the cerebellum, it's their genes. So coming from a person who has taken a lot of genetics classes, I've taken a lot of science classes, biochemistry, I understand it to a deeper level, like the genealogy of it. That's why they don't like to talk about melanin and teach you that melanin is not a recent gene, it's not a new gene, you ancient. This gene that produced this color of pigment to protect us from the sun, which is billions of years old, this is ancient! You ancient! But they teaching your kids in school that you are less than supreme because they're supreme. How? Melanin is not new. The ability to produce melanin comes from a group of genes like the MC1R gene, the TYR, which is a tyrosine gene, and others. And it goes hundreds to thousands to millions of years in human evolution. It ain't in Neanderthal evolution. I'm talking about us. That's why that gene is missing. It's a mutation that you have. You don't have it. You can't get it. But when I saw these people migrating, evolving backwards instead, I was like, what the hell? It was creepy. It was creepy, y'all. It was creepy, not to say the least. So the biology behind melanin production traces back to early life forms over 1 billion years ago. That's why so many of us are missing our organs. Yes, yes, yes. That's why that's who Trump is related to. I saw it. It gave me the heebie-jeebies. Yeah, it gave me like, it was like, oh my God. And they was like, this is the biggest secret. It was on, oh, if you want to look it up, go to 60 Minutes Australia, because it happened in Australia. Not 60 Minutes USA. Uh-oh, what did I do? Oh, there we go. It happened 60 Minutes Australia. Go and look it up. It's gone. Australia is where they at. Oh, yeah. I was like, what the hell? I didn't know. And they was like, this is the biggest secret. And they was trying to study them. Majority of that land was full of us too. Facts. So these animals came out. And they was walking on the edge. It's creepy, y'all. I don't even. You got to go look for yourself. Just go look at it for yourself. But you get the picture. Melanin isn't random. Melanin isn't something that's new. They don't talk about it because they can't talk about it. How can they tell you about you? They don't have melanin. How they gonna tell you about melanin? They don't have it. They just say, oh, we hate it. Anything, you notice how somebody get jealous of something they don't have. They just be like, I don't like that person. That's what it is. And now they got your kids hating themselves. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. But the people don't know, melanin, before we move on from the melanin, shields DNA from ultraviolet damage. The sun gives you UVA, UVB rays that can damage your DNA. We're talking about genetics now, which is why if you don't have it, and they call them clear skin, all that stuff, because the UV is very, very damaging. It causes skin cancer because it mutates and it causes mutation of the DNA, right? So if your DNA mutates from this sun exposure, you get cancer. Your body starts to act crazy. Now, if you have a skin that is normally had fur and now it kind of mutated and it doesn't have the fur, this does not make your skin supreme like you would think it does. It actually makes it mutated. So you got mutants trying to tell you that you aren't supreme because you got melanin. Make that make sense. And I'm not trying to be, I'm just telling the facts. This is just facts. Melanin prevents folate depletion. This is important for reproduction. Folate is that's why you take folic acid. If you have melanin, your folate is not going to decrease as fast. If you don't, it causes all type of issues. It supports survival in high sun environments. Now that one right there need to be the key for everybody. If you live in a highly sun enriched environment, you calling yourself Native American, how the fuck? Just biologically, chemically, spiritually, it don't make sense. You're not a sun people without melanin. And if you don't have the most melanin, you're not the most adapted to survive in the environment. Melanin supports survival in high sun environments. Melanin is a biological armor created through evolution billions of years ago. So that should tell you who you are. That should tell you who you are spiritually, physically, and mentally. Hold on, y'all. I got sinus drip going on. I've been asleep all day. I only got up to talk to y'all for real. I've been asleep all day. I feel super drained. Maybe I'm dehydrated. I probably need some sun right now. Living in New York, not really getting any sun. I don't know. It's messing up my melanin right now. I need the sun. We actually need the sun. You can't tell me that we're not indigenous, right? Now let's go back to our topic at hand about hustle culture and what's going on right now. Let's go back to the topic at hand. She already said, oh, I already read that we disappeared. let's go back to the topic at hand. So hustle culture is being exposed, right? So productivity does not equal purpose. A lot of people have got caught up in being productive. They're going to work, they're going to work, they're going to work, and they're getting so distracted from their purpose. How many people you know be like, well, I used to want to be this, but then they started working and now they just go to work. They can't get out the rat race. They can't get off the hamster wheel. They just going to work, 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 work. You working so hard you forgot about your purpose. You working so hard for somebody else's dreams that you don't have time for your purpose. You don't have time to think about who you are. You don't have time to even think about history and knowledge because they got you working so hard and they making the inflation go up. They doing all this war so you can work even harder. And you don't have time to think. Busy does not mean you're fulfilled just because you're busy all the time. And that's what prompted this topic, because I feel like everyone's attention is off. The tension is going crazy. I think the tension is down to 3 seconds now. Kids don't know how to live without the internet. Everybody's so busy and nobody is being fulfilled. This colonialism, this regime that they have going on over here, this system where they still have us POWs but call us citizens and treat us like POWs. Let's be honest, they don't treat us like a citizen. They treat us just like a POW. This isn't fulfilling us, right? You grinding all the time does not equal freedom. This is why people grind all their life. They grind, they work, they say, and you get to be 60, 70, you don't have much because the grinding does not equal freedom. And I want the young kids to know that the grinding ain't going to equal freedom. I wish somebody would have told me that the grinding is not going to equal freedom. If you're going to school to do something like, medical, doctor, dentistry, even lawyers, you're going to school to be an agriculture or plumber or something that you just need to go through that process because they force you to do that. That's different. But, we have to really realize that grinding doesn't equal freedom. If I had known what I knew now, and I wouldn't go back and change it, but I would have learned more about trading. I would have learned more about the day trading and how to make the money my slave versus you being a slave for the money. How many people out there right now feel like they a slave for the money? We got to change this mindset. We got to change this way of thinking. You can't be a slave for the money. You got to make the money, this fake ass money that's just cotton a slave for you, while you just collecting it in your sleep. Now let's go deeper with the colonization of your mind, right? Thank you for tapping those hearts. We at 16K. Colonization didn't just take our land. It reshaped our identity. It didn't just take your land. It took your belief system. It took your future. It took your identity. It took everything that's about you and made it illegal to be you. It banned everything that has to do with being indigenous, melanated. They hide it because they want to be the Americans. They want to be supreme. They want you to just shut up and feel like you're from a whole nother country where you have no family members at, right? Colonization redefined our worth. And this is one of the biggest shifts that we ever had. They turned humans, or they turned the indigenous people all over the planet into labor units, where you was just a labor unit for them. No spirit, not creators, not thinkers, just workers. They just want you to work. They don't want you to have a spirit. They don't want you to be a creator. Think outside of the box. Be a tribe. Read, learn about who you are. That is the colonizer's mindset. If you control how someone sees themselves, guess what you don't need anymore? You don't need no chains. If they can control how you see yourself and make you hate yourself and make you go to work, to labor, they don't need no chains. They can make you go to church, make you believe in the slave Bible, and they can make you believe in religion and the things that Rome and the popes did, and that the white Christians is over your soul. Because this is the type of things that I read when I read history, and I just be baffled as hell, like, what the fuck? And they talk about your ancestors like they were so easy, like groupies, like they 304s. This is how they talk. Oh, these people gonna be easy to put to sleep. They talk like this. One of the first biggest pivotal moments in me waking up was when I read about Christopher Columbus' ass. I can't stand his ass. When I read how he was pulling up to the coast, acting like he knew what these people were saying to him, like, letting him stay on that shore was the worst thing they ever could have did. It was the worst thing they ever could have did. He was going around like, where's the king? Where's the the gold. You know what I'm saying? He was like, oh, well, these people so beautiful. He was like, they're so docile, they're going to be easy to give to the Bible. This is what Christopher Columbus said now. I thought you ain't seen nobody when you was over here. He was like, oh, these people are melanated. They beautiful. They so handsome. They got so many fruits. And I was just in shock reading this. I'm like, wow. He said they're going to be easy to convert to Christianity. This is what he said. And ever since that moment, I have been trying to learn about it and figure out why he said that. And the things you find out when you read about it and learn about it, how even when it comes to the Mongolians, that's how slavery started, Christianity. He raped them too. He raped them. He kidnapped them. His first encounter with them, he was pulling up, kidnapping the women. He was kidnapping the kids. He was like, I'm going to take these kids and these women back to Queen Isabella. People was jumping off the boat because they was like, what the hell? And the fathers came and they swam to the boat to get their kids and their wife. This thing was sad, man. I was crying reading Christopher Columbus. Especially when he said, they going to be easy to control. They don't know nothing about war and evil. He was handing them Bibles. Y'all got to read between the lines, man. He raped them. I never liked him and giving them diseases. That's why they have hurricanes. Man, I never liked them. Never liked them. But one thing that he realized, and most people don't realize this about themselves, is that when they can control how you see yourself, when they can put something on your screen or on your timeline, what they call it now, where they can control your timeline, keep your timeline full of twerking, keep your timeline full of people arguing about something in the hood, keep your timeline about people depressed, they can't get out, keep your timeline on demonic energy, keep your timeline away from the knowledge, they don't need no chains. If I can keep you away from the knowledge, I don't need no chains. You go deep underneath the water, we buried there in chains. Man, that hurt my spirit because I know you telling the truth. I know you telling the truth. They don't need no chains when they can control how you see yourself. They broke up Africa. They colonized all of Africa with the Berlin Conference. The Africans are Christians now. They believe that the white man is in control of their soul and their spirit as well. Okay? Yeah, they colonized all of that. But like Frederick Douglass said, guys, remember we got to go back to the words of our ancestors. It's so simple that it ain't simple. Knowledge makes me unfit to be a slave. With the knowledge, there's no way you can put me in chains mentally, physically, biologically, chemically. You're going to have to take the Indians out because we're not going back to sleep. And that's the thing about knowledge. When you get knowledge, you can't go back to sleep. You can't unsee this shit. Egyptians are Middle Easterns. They argue the same way. Listen, you can't have a family member coming to you talking about you need to go. But I had a family member tell me just yesterday, you need to get a church home. You need to do this. Listen, don't tell me I got too much knowledge to turn myself in to be a slave again. I can't put those chains back on just because everybody doing it. I don't care what you feel. I got too much knowledge to be controlled. And they know that. That's the reason why they got to teach your kids before you teach your kids. That's the reason why they got to give you that hustle culture so you don't have time to tell your kids to be more than just a worker, a laborer, the Department of Labor. Bible tells the truth about Africans too. I did my research on the Bible, and that was even shocking. I don't even think people are ready for that. When you want to go do research for the Bible, go back all the way to 300 CE. Yeah, this is thousands, decades ago. Well, centuries ago, we'll say. And I did my research on the Bible because with me, I even took religion in college. I'm just like a learner, but I'm like, what's going on? I didn't understand why they had this evil, demonic spirit around the Bible trying to convert people to Christianity and unaliving them and using them and saying things like, in the name of our Lord, and if these people don't follow our commands, and they're going to be doomed for life in the name of God. I don't like that shit. When all the presidents was unaliving people and had people enslaved, and they had people enslaved on the church, that don't sit well with me. When the Pope said, he created the papal bulls that Christopher Columbus actually used to come and unalive people when he created the papal bulls, and they had eminent domains and said, hey, you can go and seize land from all over the world if they're not a white male Christian prince. This was their oath. This is what they were studying in their churches back then. How to control you. And then 300 CE, Constantine, make sure you go study his ass. He legalized Christianity. They had too many gods back then over there. They was honoring the goat, the sheep man, this man, that man. And he said, you know what, it's too many religions. He got a bunch of them together. They created the books. They put these books together, which you know is the Bible now. It's much more different now than it was back then. He got a bunch of books together. He said, we're going to need this as a doctrine to control people around the world. This is from Constantine now. We just talking facts here, people. We're not talking nothing that's mysterious. This is facts. He said, we're going to use this to control the world. And that's why you got the Catholic Church tied to slavery. And this is why even in Russia, we'll go back to the Native Americans. And we'll tie this to Christianity too before we move on. Now, you go look up the fur trade in Russia. This is in the 1500s. Let me see what century that would be, because I be getting confused about it. This would be the 16th century. 16th century. This is right before they came over here and tried to colonize us, right? They had the fur trade in Russia. So these Siberians that you see, these Asians who now over here pretending they got pushed out of their homeland, Siberia. Siberia is now 85% Russian, because the Russians colonized the Siberians, right? It pushed them east of the land during the fur trade. The Russians used something called Cossacks. Cossacks. And what is a Cossack, you ask? The Cossacks, let me give you the full, real definition of it, because you know I like studying definitions. Let me tell you about the Cossacks. The Cossacks is who colonized the Native Americans in the 1500s, since they was migrating over here. The Cossacks was a predominantly East Slavic, notice that word, Eastern Christian people who colonized the Siberians, originating from the Pontic Caspian steppe of eastern Ukraine. They were called the Christian military. How y'all got that up? How y'all came up with that? Christian military colonized Siberia and kicked the Siberians out, and they came through to Alaska. And then you'll find out that Alaska had ownership, was owned by Russia. This is where the so-called Native Americans be at, right? And then Alaska was sold to the United States. And I just said that because these Christians always popping up, whether it's in Russia, they colonizing the so-called Pretendians. They colonized them and pushed them to our land. It all makes sense. And this is just world history, so I don't want to go too deep in that. But just know that the Cossacks groups organized along military lines. They were a military force calling themselves Christian. They call themselves the Christian military. The Christian military. That's crazy. Anywho, let's carry on. So when you think about these colonizers and you think about all these chains and all these nations that came, French, Russia, from every part of our land, it was no way that our ancestors could fight off all these people. They had to be smarter than them. They had to use the knowledge. They had to try to write and tell them, hey, the knowledge makes us unfit to be a slave. This is why now you'll see when you go back, our ancestors were still inventing every damn thing. The toilet stool y'all use, we invented that. The traffic lights you use, we invented that. The lights that you use in your house, we invented that. The washing machine, anything you could think, we invented that. Now you tell me, if y'all doing slave raiding, slave catching in the 1600s and the 1700s to catch our ancestors, when did you bring us here on the boat? How did you do that? How did you do that? How was that? We came on a boat, tied down. How y'all got enough water to bring that many people, millions of people from somewhere that nobody knows in Africa where it was? Everybody just think it's a random place. You did all that. You don't have no boats. You didn't have enough water to do it. Y'all barely made it over here. When Christopher Columbus was coming over here, they barely made it over here. They was hungry as hell. But you mean to tell me you brought people? And then when you got here, you let these people go? In some kind of way they colonized the land in the 1700s where you was still in that war with them? In some kind of way they was inventing shit too? Fuck out of here, man. It don't work that way. It don't work. That lie doesn't work anymore. Right? Colonization didn't just take our land, guys. It took our whole spirit. That's the whole purpose of Christianity. The popes, their whole goal was to take your spirit. So if you feeling spiritually broken, if you feeling like you're just working on a hamster wheel and it's a hustle culture, that's by design. Because they're still trying to break your spirit. And today we can't have that. I need you to hold your head up high. Because your spirit is the most valuable, priceless thing you got on your body. Your knowledge is going to be the one tool that's going to help you get through this shit. People are like, what's next? I don't know what's next, guys. But I know it's going to be bad for them. Not for us. Our ancestors is speaking. They talking. That's why I can't shut up. I got to get out of my bed when I'm tired. Because I got to talk to my people. Right? Y'all trafficking in our spirit, man. You trafficking our DNA. You trafficking our history. But you want to call it us your citizens? How? We would never be your citizen. It's never going to work out. They did their best to try to pay millions and millions of dollars to get TikTok shut down. It's never going to work out. You cannot hide the truth. The one thing I didn't understand, and I think they really feel bad about, is that their ancestors use all the unaliving, all of the colonization skills as a way. That's the only way they could control us and have any control now, is because they had to write this down. Once they learned how to write, they would just write any damn thing. None of the laws make sense. You had a book, they made it illegal. You looked in the sky, they made it illegal. If they saw the Indians praying, if they saw them looking to the sun or sunbathing, they made that illegal. Anything that's you, they made it legal. Dr. Shon, have you ever had a dental shadower? If so, what was that like? Thanks for the stream. Oh, yeah, I did have people shout at me before. Definitely had people shout at me, actually, who are dentists right now. Right now, I don't have anybody shadowing, but definitely I have had people shadow. And it's a fun experience seeing where I was when I was that student, like, looking up to the doctors, trying to shadow in their offices. Like, it just brings me back to a whole, it just brings me back down memory lane. Because when I wanted to be a doctor, and I was in Tallahassee, I had just graduated from Florida State University, home of the Seminoles. Go figure. And I know with dental school, you have to have so many things for your application. And for my application, I had applied 1 year. I didn't get in, so I realized, dang, I got to go shadow more people. So I had to go and shadow somebody from the school that I wanted to get in. So when I have people shadow me, it just makes me feel excited to help them, to teach them. And I just know everybody ain't going to push through, because going to dental school is not for the weak. It's not even for the strong. It's for the rare. And I mean that with all my heart. It's for the people who are rare, who won't study all day and night, get no sleep. It's a rare thing to make it into school and to make it out. So I just remember how it was for me. I mean, once I got denied, I had to work on my application for the whole year. And I finally found a dentist who was a Meharry grad. I went to him. He lived in, his office was like 45 minutes from Tallahassee and Quincy. And I was calling. He wouldn't answer. I was like, no. I was just that ambitious. It's not a game. Like, when you want something, you got to go get it. So I drove there one Saturday. I see what time they open. I sat in the parking lot. When he got out of his car, I say, hey, I'm Shontario. I need to shadow you. I work for free. I just trying to get into dental school. I want to be a dentist. I want to shadow you. I've been calling. I'll clean the rooms. I'll do whatever. I was working for free. Basically shadowing, but also like cleaning the rooms. They like, dang, you got to be that ambitious. It's got to be in you or it's not. You're going to either be a slave mind or you're not. You're going to go hard or you're not. You can't wait for a handout. Somebody ain't responding, you go take it. So basically that was me taking my reference. I'm like, hey, I'm here. You ain't answering. I need this. I need this. So that's where I came from. So when people come to shadow me, it just brings back memories for me, and I love it. I love when people want to enter this field, because we need more people like us. They try to keep us out of dentistry as well. There's only 2 dental schools compared to like 70, 80, 90 who know YT schools, immigrant dental schools on our land. Just think about that. We got 2 melanated schools, Meharry, Howard, and they were going to put one in at Florida A&M University in Tallahassee, but they denied that. The state said, oh, hell no. Because I remember when they were doing it, I was like, dang, I might be able to go to dental school in Tallahassee. I was so excited. And then it never happened. And I was like, damn, that would have been smart to put a dental school right here. But now I know why that didn't work out. We know why. Because the melanated people having 3 dental schools is just too much for this country. Meanwhile, they put one predominantly white dental schools up all over our land, and we're not the ones who's into this knowledge. That's why colonization is so bad for our students, for everybody. It's bad. They blocking us out still to this day, and they do it now. It's just like they just do it now, you know. They just do it now. So that was a great question. Thank you for asking that. Thank you for the answer, Dr. Shon. It's very much appreciated. You are welcome. Y'all know I love talking about teeth. I guess I'm kind of rare because I talk about teeth, history, being indigenous, all of that. So they wanted to turn us into labor units. And I think they did a very damn good job turning our people into labor units. Christian labor units. Yep, I think they did a very good job at that. They don't want you to be in communication with your spirit. They don't want you to create no more. They don't want you to go and say, you know what, I got an idea. Let me go create something. You know what, let me go think. Let me go. They don't want you to do that, right? Because if they tell you who you are, they don't need chains anymore. Did y'all know that when they first made it a requirement for you to go to Sunday school, which is now we know as church, they had to have the slave patrols in there to make sure you was reading what they authorized you to read out the Bible. They had to make sure they had the slave patrol there so that the preachers wouldn't, try to plan to attack them. Yeah, they had to have a slave patrol in the church to make sure you went to church and work and all of this stuff. I just find that so baffling in a nation that talking about make it great again. What are y'all talking about? Make what great? Y'all was never great. If you call going to war with people, forming a government in 1790, aka the War Department, great, how can you ever be great? This is why you know it's Neanderthal mindset, because that's nothing great about that. It's nothing great about trying to control other people. That's how you know even now, when they talk MAGA, make America great, you mean make America Neanderthal? You mean make America... Anywho. Anywho. So all these things that we talk about, the hustle culture, the trafficking of our identity and of our history, because they do traffic our history, which is what you see now. The world is trafficking our history, using all of our resources and keeping us blocked out. That's how you know who you truly are. This is why they want us to lose our identity, disconnect from the history, replace the culture with consumption, right? You can't disconnect us from our history. That's why I'm so happy to see so many Nijis, so many Amerindians, so many indigenous inhabitants. I'm seeing all these names because everybody caught up on the names. Whatever the names is, motherfucker. Y'all know what I'm saying. You can't disconnect us from our history. It's our history. And the best thing y'all could have did was write down everything you did to us, because now we can go read. There's no longer a law that says you can't read. The reason why they had that law is because they know if you read, guess what? That make you unfit to be? Right. A slave. To be a leader, you must be a reader. You want to hide anything from a nigga, put it in a book. But see, when you a Niji, you can't hide it from us because we love books. What? Now why they want to ban books? Y'all always talking about banning something. Can y'all ban white supremacy? Can we do that? Is there any way we can ban white supremacy? Because it seems like that's what really need to be banned. Can we ban colonization worldwide? Because it seems like that's what need to be banned. Not books. Not somebody not having a job. Not somebody being homeless on their own land, which y'all call homeless. This is still our land. I don't give a damn where your feet at. It's still your land. Don't you ever feel like it's not your land. I don't care if you don't got a house or a pot. This is your land. So when you step out on that ground and you grounding on that land, that's your land. Don't you ever feel like you don't got nothing. This is your land. This is yours. Don't you ever lose your identity. You can't disconnect us from our history. We happy you kept receipts. I'm happy to see all the receipts popping up. Y'all wish y'all can just delete the receipts, but there's so many receipts. All these other countries got receipts on us. That's why when they try to say, oh, the Indians look like this, but you know, when the people from all overseas came over here, they look like us. They didn't look like you. Oh, well, we're indigenous. How? You look like a Siberian. You look like one of those people that Russia colonized and sent over here. That's why Russia know who y'all are. They know who y'all are. They know who you are. Right? Now let's zoom out a little bit and talk about the systems, war, and power. And we're the only ones who will stand and be like, no, we're staying put on our land. We leave for trips, vacations, but this is our ish. Period. We're no longer the slave class who is the new slaves, the ones who thrown out here because their education rates are so low. I just looked at the rates by bachelor's degree rates by demographics. Yeah, now we ain't no longer, we was never really, like that word slave, we was never y'all slaves. Y'all just called us that. We was y'all prisoners of war. That's why I keep saying we was the prisoners of war, and we still are the prisoners of war. Nothing changed. And the reason why I say we're the prisoners of war, because in 1865, when they said, okay, we're going to release y'all now. This was right around the time they learned how to print money. The greenbacks. This is right around that time, 1862, where they learned how to print money because they needed to win the war against the South, because the South wanted to keep us enslaved, and they say no. They printed $450 million back then, just fake money, so that they can win the war. And then they said, okay, Emancipation Proclamation. They paid those slave owners reparations. Yeah, the slave owners reparations. They gave the slave owners the land. They said, okay, well, y'all stop fighting. Because at this point, they was ending the Seminole Wars. They claimed that we was doing treaties, but they turned around and canceled all of that. They canceled all of that. And in 1865, they said, okay, you're no longer enslaved unless it's a crime. And that's what you see. You no longer in prison unless punishable by crime. And then guess what? They made all the crimes. Stupid shit. Oh, you out late at night? That's a crime. You pass your curfew? That's a crime. You got a book? That was still a crime. Then they made the slave raiders turn to the slave patrols in the 1700s. Those became the military people. Those became the police. You see, now they just chopped off the name to keep hiding the history. But ain't nothing new with y'all shit that y'all did to us. It ain't nothing new. Then they said in the 1800s, everybody, oh, Emancipation Proclamation. No, they just reinvented the wheel. They say you're free unless you commit a crime. And now a crime is just being black. I don't even want to say that, but a crime just being melanin. They made melanin a crime. Do you get what I'm trying to say? They made our melanin, our gene, a crime. Ooh. How y'all using genetics to make me a crime? The police go out, they see somebody melanated, that's a crime. They use your melanin, they use a gene that is billions of years to turn it into a crime. This is how you know this is Neanderthal thinking. This is how you know this is Neanderthal-like behavior, because they don't understand simple shit. You turn something that's older than you into a crime. You get what I'm saying? They said if you didn't have a job after this time period, 1865, because they made it a law to have a job now, because guess what? You can't go and make them work for free no more. You have to pay these people. Even though this is our land, this shouldn't even be going on, period. But you get what I'm saying? They said, okay, well, we're going to make y'all free, but you still got to go to work. For this greenbacks we made, remember the greenbacks was worth nothing. They said you got to go to work for this cotton y'all ancestors used to own. And if you don't, guess what that is, guys? Guess what it is? You guessed it, a crime. And they said back then, oh, you couldn't own gold. That's a crime. They said, oh, you couldn't bear no rights to arms. You couldn't have no gun if you had melanin gene. Guess what? Because that's a crime. But if you white supremacy Christian, you could have, you had a right to bear arms. That's why now, and me, it's sad. Me as a dentist, I even had the chance to experience this. And I didn't understand it back then because I wasn't in my identity. But I used to have this assistant when I was working in upstate New York. And what was it? I can't even remember the place it is called. It was in like Ithaca, New York area. If you know New York, you kind of know it's like in the middle of nowhere. And I had this assistant because I always worked in offices, the only black person in the office. A lot of my first dental jobs, I was the only melanated person in the office out of the patients and the staff. Yeah. Toot my horn. Yeah, let me. Yeah. And they always thought I was what, the assistant and shit. No, bitch, I'm the doctor, right? But anywho, we had this luncheon, and I think I rode with my assistant to the lunch or something because it was Cortland. That's where it was. I didn't know where the place was at because it's like a little rinky-dink town. And I'm in the car riding with her, and I look in the back seat, I'm like, damn, she riding with a shotgun, white girl. I'm like, damn, they can ride around with shotguns in the back seat and all of this? And at that point, I'm like, damn. It didn't hit me because I wasn't woke at this point. This was just probably like 7, 8 years ago. I was just shocked. It didn't hit me that then. She was probably 21, riding around with a shotgun. So they can ride around with shotguns. They can ride around with arms, we'll call it. But they made it a law where we couldn't have no arms. If you had an arm, they got the right to take it from you, unalive you, do all this stuff. This is bio-terrorist warfare. The U.S. government is actually terrorists. They like to call other people terrorists. They want to highlight Epstein like he's so bad. Well, y'all been trafficking us since you got here. Y'all acting like Trump so bad. Trump ain't doing nothing y'all old presidents didn't do. From George Washington. Oh, y'all mad because he maybe not like... He ain't doing nothing new. All y'all presidents evil. Every single one of them. None of them heroes. I don't think they're no heroes. And they're going to tell your kids in school to take the test about these being the heroes. This is a part of colonizing their mind. Tell them that they're heroes. The same people who unalive their ancestors. Got your parents going to work where you can't see them. But these the heroes? This Neanderthal heroes. Remember that. Neanderthal heroes. This ain't everybody hero. Don't go around thinking that y'all heroes is our heroes. Because they're not. I used to think, okay, George Washington, first president. George Washington was a military guy. He inherited 10 slaves from his father when his father died in 1943. He inherited 280 acres of land that they seized through war. This was before they had the U.S. government. George Washington. And then he joined the military. He was doing the French Indian War. George Washington. So during the time when he was at war, these people they was enslaving, trafficking, that they had in prison, they turned this into a government. George Washington, when he first became the president, 1790, he had been through 40 years of fighting us. That's why he started his presidency. He only died 10 years later, and when he died, he had 300 plus, 300 and something enslaved people. Some he got from his father, inherited these people. Some he got from when he was doing all his military stuff, because back then, to be a president, you had to be willing to unalive us and enslave us. And that's what he did. And they said, oh, great. That made people popular amongst MAGA. That made them popular amongst white supremacy. When they showed their Neanderthal genetic terrorist-like mentality. So he became the president. And when he became the president, like I said, he had people enslaved at Mount Vernon, right here in New York. Yeah. When he became the president, he started the Census Bureau. He started the War Department. And the War Department housed the Bureau of Indian Affairs. Now, how y'all got the War Department? You got people enslaved at Mount Vernon, and y'all in charge of the Indian Affairs, and y'all in charge of seizing the land. Come on now. You call this a hero, though, don't you? Fuck out of here, man. Fuck out of here, man. No hero. None of them was heroes. So when y'all talk about Trump, yeah, he ain't no damn hero. He doing what the hell his ancestors did. Going to do war, dropping bombs on people. Y'all government did the same thing to us. Y'all talking about, oh, and then I see these, clear people talking about, oh, we never had war on our own land. They talking about the American, this is our country. This ain't y'all country. All y'all cosplaying. People think that the Native Americans are the only pretendians. No. The clear people are pretending too. They're pretending like they're you as well. They're pretending like they're more American than you. They saying they brought you here. And actually, y'all, it's just sad, guys. But y'all get the point. This is why systems, war, and power, these are patterns. War cycles are patterns. The economic pressure you feel is a pattern. The laws shaping labor and control, this is all a pattern. You're going to start to see something in this pattern. That power has always been protected through their structure. And that's the problem. Let's see what you got going on here on YouTube. And we're the ones who will stand and be like, no, we're staying put on our land. We leave for trips, vacations, but this is our ish. I already read that. We're no longer the slave class who's and I already read that. Race in California. Education rates. A lot of people getting their kids out of the school. They getting rid of all this religion because they realizing, damn, this gonna make me a slave forever, man. And you don't want to be caught up in the trap because it's hard to get out of the trap. 99.9% of my family's stuck in the trap. I just talked to a family member tonight, and she know the knowledge, but she still go to the church because she said, you know, this is community. But she like, I know the knowledge. So it's hard breaking up from that colonization mindset and lifestyle. And what it really is a Neanderthal lifestyle that they set up for you. They want to put your kids into a Neanderthal type, you know, white supremacy type lifestyle. They don't want you to have your own mind, right? It says in California, education rates in California, Asian, including South Asians, 53%. White 44%, black 3 to 5% of population, 26%, Samoan 20%, Pretinian Indians, 15% Hispanic, largest population by far, 13% MS had education rates. The slave class is always going to be associated with the least educated. Facts, 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 facts. And people now feel like, oh, we're not. They try to act like you're not still a slave, but you are. And that's the part that get me, because I'm still a POW. And I realize it. I was just talking to the chief today, and I was like, dang, we really just a wrinkle in time. Y'all ever heard of that phrase, a wrinkle in time? We really are a wrinkle in time in a current war. All these wars that they call World War I, Vietnam, so these are all battles. This war has been going on since they landed 1619. That's why when they first started their government, the first department that they made was the War Department. It was actually a department. The War Department. You know, it's always been war, and it has never ended. They just shifted the gears. Like I said, they went from slave raiding. When you see the police going to raid, Afro Man just won a case because they raided his home. You see this word, raiders. That came from slave raiders. They could come in your house. It was laws where they could come in anybody's house on this land according to these Neanderthal mindsets and take whatever they want, seize the land. They had laws where they could just do whatever. They made basically everything that's criminal legal for them to do. And they made it illegal for us to do back to them. That's why they made it legal for the white man to have a gun. But if you were melanated at this time, it was illegal for you to get caught with a gun. Isn't that crazy? But this is the society we live in. Even now, it's still like that. You don't know. A lot of clear people have, like I said, weapons right in their back seat. And if they get pulled over, ain't nothing going to happen. Because they all in this together. But if you get pulled over, they're going to unalive you. Or they're going to lie and say you got something that you don't. Yeah, the police system ain't nothing but another war department. It's just another war department on our own land. Right? That's all it is. History shows us that systems evolve, but many were built during times of conflict, expansion, and control. And those foundations still echo today, guys. If you don't understand the system, which is why I can't be mad at nobody. I couldn't go and be mad at my dad for getting locked up all the time when I realized he was in Tallahassee where they hunting the Indians. I have to go back and be like, damn, I can't be mad at him for that. Because that's their whole purpose, to take the father out of the household. My dad way chocolate than me. He chocolate. Chocolate. So you already know that he was a target. You riding down the road, they see that man, oh, there's an Indian. Let's pull him over. We don't give a damn what he doing. Let's just pull him over. If you go to Tallahassee, they got this page called the Leon County Booking Report where they put the Indians on the Facebook now. They'll put your ass on Facebook now to embarrass you. in front of your family, in front of your kids. And most of the time it's always driving without this, because they always harass you when you drive there. That's why I hate driving in Tallahassee. I hate driving in the South, because the slave raiders down there, the slave patrol down there, they train to harass you. I was riding through Georgia one time. You know, we was riding through Georgia one time, and the slave raider, I'm a dentist at this point, the slave raider got behind us. I call them slave raider because that's what they are. I'm talking about the police, the slave raider, right? And we passed, and they had a whole bunch of people pulled over. The slave raider saw us, me and this other melanated Niji chief in the car. The chief was driving. They stopped what they was doing, came and stalked us. I put this on my mama. That's why I don't drive through Georgia no more, because of the slave raiders, right? They hunt you down. If you get caught in one of them sundown towns and you got 6 slave raiders on your neck, it's a wrap for you. And we know at this point it was a wrap if we didn't think quick. So at this moment when we was being hunted by these slave raiders, this had to be about 8 years ago. Yeah, in Georgia. Yeah. Deep South. And I was shocked. Every time I go down there, I get shocked when just from the police presence, I just get like, because in New York, they very still much with the shits, but it's just different in the South. I can't explain it. If you ever move from the South and go somewhere else, you'll know what I'm talking about. When you go back, you'll be like, damn, these people don't even understand that they being, you know, brutalized, a night terror, all of that. So we rolled, and we seen him turn. He got in the car. They came, 2 of them, 2 of the slave patrols. They followed us down about a mile, and I'm like, oh, damn. So we pulled over to the store. At this point, we switched gears, because it's less hostility if you're a woman. You know, if you're a man driving, especially in Florida, now when we go there, chiefs don't even drive. For what? To be harassed? So we there. We go to the store. We going in the store. We see them parked across the street, bruh. They parked across the street watching us. We just traveling, trying to go home. Right? So I get into the driver's seat. They didn't expect that move. I'm an excellent driver. You know, I'm also a doctor, because that doctor stuff saved me a lot of times, because they realized, damn, you ain't one of them. You're not one of the ones we could just treat because you don't have knowledge. And I always cuss their ass out too. But anywho, we left the store, and do you know these people followed us to the next county line? I had to drive with anxiety and fear. We had to drive like, what the fuck? This is before I woke up. I was like, what the hell? I had to drive like this, like, because you can see them behind. It's just like, it just pissed me off, man. It just really like a feeling that you can't explain. And now that I know where it stems from, they're still, that's why I say right now, they're still locking up somebody. Right now, they behind somebody. Right now, looking at the color of their skin, harassing them. Every time I go home, even the last time I went home last year, we had the same incident in Tallahassee. Police is over here at the store. They see us pass. They get behind us and stalk us. We pull over to the store. They there. We got to turn here to try to dodge them. That's aggravating, man. I don't have to deal with that a lot of places, but where it was deeply military presence, because the Seminoles, which y'all don't realize, the real true Appalachian Indians, the melanated Creek Indians, they never left. When they said they wanted you to move off your land and do the Trail of Tears, and they wanted to force you to the reservation camps, aka the concentration camps. They wanted to be like Hitler, put you on a concentration camp, call it a reservation. Our people said, hell no, we ain't going no damn where. They was like, nah, we ain't doing that. That's why Tallahassee still got melanated Appalachia there who don't know they Appalachia, because they did not leave. And I'm happy my ancestors did not sell us out, because we able to go back and track this history and realize we still here. You couldn't move us out. So now, since they couldn't move you, they terrorized the neighborhood. The whole goal and purpose of the slave patrol was to terrorize melanated neighborhoods to try to get you to leave the land. Their whole goal was to plant crimes on you, get the father out of the household so that the mama can be on the system. A system that she gonna be stuck on forever, where she can get just enough to get by for the rest of your life. You send your kids to school, they're going to get just enough knowledge so they can go into the labor system. They're not going to go and be great unless they have that extra rarity where they're going to push through. I grew up in this system and I just had that extra rarity where I knew something wasn't right. I said, I can't get caught. My whole thing was, back at that point, I didn't know that this was what was going on, but I was like, I just don't want to be, I don't want to get old and be stuck. Like the people I saw around me, I didn't want to have to go to the payday loan and do all this and struggle. I didn't want to have that. So I studied my ass off, even without a mama, even without a daddy. One time my auntie came to the school. She was like, I don't never see you studying. She came to the school. She thought I was skipping. I said, nah, this is my future. This is the thing. You got to care for your future. Whether your mama here, whether your daddy, where he at, you got to care for your future. So I made sure I studied hard. I said, the only way I'm going to escape this, whatever I felt at that point, was to study hard. And at this point, being the doctor was like, I felt like, okay, I'm going to have to go this route. I don't have nothing else. I don't have no knowledge of amnesia. I don't have no knowledge about this history. All I knew was I got to study. And I studied my ass off. From high school to college to after college, I studied my ass off. Because I did not want to be caught up in the system, not knowing that I was already caught up in the system. It wasn't until I got the true knowledge that I feel like I'm actually free. I'm actually free now. I can lose it all today, but I know that I'm free because I still got my spirit. You couldn't take my spirit, motherfucker. You tried. They tried. They try to keep you in poverty. They try to keep you in the hood. They try to make you feel like it's helpless. They try to make you feel like it's hopeless. That's on purpose. You cannot let them win when it comes to your spirit. You can't let them win. History shows us that systems evolve to control us. So we got to understand the system, because the struggle isn't personal. Most people feel like they struggle so personal. They got you feeling alone. You don't have a village. Your village hating on you. Your village don't understand. The village broken up. And everybody now in the village, if you come from one of those villages who don't have the knowledge yet, some villages is together. But you come from one of those villages who don't know what's going on, their whole thing is, well, F them people and da-da-da. No, motherfucker, y'all got it all twisted. We need the village, man. This is what's going on with the kids now. Everybody like F this and F that, and this is what's going on. Nobody talking. Nobody trying to communicate and figure out what's making the village so discombobulated and disconnected. Everybody want to be on one. Everybody want to have an attitude. Don't nobody want to deal with the mental health crisis. Don't nobody want to deal with that. Everybody want to be silent and act like everything okay. Meanwhile, you got teenagers taking themselves off this earth because they don't know who they are. Because they don't know history. Because they've been trained and colonized to hate themselves. Right? Anxiety is at an all-time high. Depression is rising in this world. Attention spans are shrinking to 3% or 3 seconds. This isn't random. This is overload. This is overload, man. We cannot let them win. Let's look at what the attention span is right now. Let's see. Let's just see. Let's see what the average attention span is right now, because they got us messed up. It says the average attention span for children and adults in 2026 is projected to be as follows now. So boys 4 to 6 years old, attention span is 5 to 7 minutes. Girls 7 to 9 minutes, same age. When boys get older, 8 to 12 years old, it's 12% shorter than girls. Children with ADHD have 40 to 60% less attention span. But I want to go to adults. Let's go to perplexity. Because this is very important to me. I'm going to do a live on attention. I don't know what made me prompt that, but I'm going to figure it out. Because I feel like it's very important. Let's see what it says. Wow, we had 25K hearts. Thank y'all for tapping those hearts. Bible tells the truth about Africans too. Now, we're getting to the end of this, but I'm not done yet. I got a couple more points to make about this mental health crisis that we're facing. Now, when I look up what's the average attention span for adults right now, this is going to explain why we don't have the attention of a dang on. We can't do nothing no more. They got us all like too wired. Even with all of this knowledge, there's so much wiring going on. It's so much going on with the war. It's just so much going on your timeline. You're just strolling. All this sensory information you're taking into your brain. We got to detox from things sometimes. You know what I mean? It says adults today can focus for minutes at a time. But on digital devices, our average attention on one screen has shrunk to roughly 40 to 50 seconds before we switch tasks or windows. That's from the National Geographic. Just think about that, guys. Your attention span is only 40 to 50 seconds. That's why people who listen to the knowledge that I'm talking about, if you're not woke, you want 40 to 50 seconds. That's nothing. That's less than a minute. That's less than the time they tell you to brush your teeth. That's how long our attention span is. Most people probably only brush for 40 to 50 seconds because their attention span is so short. That's time to dentistry with this, but I'm just saying. It says work tasks. Knowledge workers typically stay on a given work task for 10 to 12 minutes before switching. This is because of digital interruptions, because of the phone, the timeline, the notifications. Last year I turned off all my notifications from every app because it's just too much. Why do I need to be notified so damn much? So I can come back to your app, give you all my time, and you ain't teaching me nothing. Only thing you want to do is block out the real shit and give me some fake shit. And put stuff on here, propaganda, war, keep your spirit all scared and no, not doing it. Sustain focus. When distractions are controlled, adults can maintain attention on a single task 12 to 20 minutes. But phones and notifications shorten this in real life. Turn your notifications off. I turn off all notifications. Eventually, I don't even want to get an email. I don't want it. I just don't. It's just too much. Right? When you have shorter attention spans, guess what? It's linked to shorter sustained attention, mental fatigue, weaker cognitive control in young adults. This leads to that depression. This leads to you feeling lost in the sauce. This leads to you just not being able to create. This leads to you not being able to build, to think, to study, to even desire knowledge. It's your attention span. So basically, colonization, all these things also hijack your attention. Right? This thing says checking behavior is intense. Now, how many of us see people do this? I hate to go and I see people just on the phone. I hate it. Like, even when I'm at dinner or something, I have to manually say put the phone down because I don't want to be on my phone. It's just, you got to think, like, I don't know. It says Americans now check their phones 200 plus times per day. 200 times per day. That's fucking crazy. And if you're checking your phone 200 times a day, it said the interruptions can take 20 to 25 minutes to fully recover from. What? This is why I got to do a whole live on attention. I'm going to stop there because it's just going on and on and on and on and on. But my point was that the attention span is out the window right now. You way too distracted. It's okay to get off of social media for a couple of days and try to get back in tune with your spirit. One thing I realized as I've gotten older, especially this last year, is I didn't really know who I was. I've been going to school, doing all this, feeling like, I didn't know who I was. I had to learn how to be okay with being alone. Not talking to somebody, not doing this, doing that on my phone, looking at this, switching from Facebook, going to TikTok, switching from this. I really said, I got to learn how to be in my own mind, my own spirit, where I could just chill out, think, drink some water, go for a walk, put the phone down, and just be at peace and not be so riled up all the time. And that's why it's so bad right now with war, with these systems, with the power, with who's in control, because they got us on 10 all times. You always on 10. There's a bill you worried about. You worried about that. You worried about what you're going to eat. You worried about the grocery bill. You worried about everything. Don't worry. Be happy. Now I don't worry if it's meant for me to live. If it's meant for me, it's going to be attracted to me. If it's not, it's going to be removed. I'm not worrying about nothing but my spirit being in tune with the truth. Because then I know my ancestors going to rock with me. I'm already going to get the knowledge because I ain't no dummy. And if I know knowledge make me unfit to be a slave, I just want more knowledge because I ain't ever going to be a slave again. I love when people share the knowledge down my timeline. I'm trying to change my timeline to just be full of knowledge instead of full of, comedy. Good. I like to watch the little funny kids. I love me some Miss Shirley. I love the twin and sis them. I love Lil Wham. Y'all probably don't know who I'm talking about. Lil Marge, Lil Van, Lil Eris. I do watch the younger generation because they haven't been tainted yet. They still got their creativity. They still having fun. They still just say the craziest things. So yeah, you don't want to be all caught up in being so serious, but at the same time, get back in tune with your spirit. Whether that's yoga, meditating. I think meditating is the key to attention, which we'll go over in the live when I do that on attention. So history shows us that systems evolve, right? But many of those systems that they have right now, especially the U.S. government, was built during the time of conflict, war, and control. The U.S. government is all about war. Even right now, like I said, we're in a wrinkle in time. It's still war. Since the time they came to now, it's just been all war. Even now, we at war right now. And the government built on war and on the backs of people who y'all never repaid, you never gave shit, it's going to crumble. It has to crumble because you still don't get something simple as humanity, kindness, ethics. Y'all still don't understand that. You still think that, oh, well, this is our country and make America great and we're going to change this and we're going to keep writing all that shit down so we can go back and read it and keep connecting the dots until you crumble down. Keep going. If you think this is right, just keep going, government. Keep going, Trump. Well, I'm not surprised by nothing y'all do at this point. Nothing. I'm just surprised that my people haven't woke up yet. That's the only thing that surprised me. Like, damn, we still gonna send our kids to the Lions Den? Okay. We still gonna let the system control them? Okay. So that's why the struggle isn't personal, guys. I'm talking to the tribe. The struggle is not personal. It's not you. It's the system. Now, if you don't go and get the knowledge to defeat the system, then it is you at that point. Hey, Doc, just got back from the dentist. Still none from the drill. Temp is gone. I'm rocking my new permanent crown. Hey. I'm happy you got your new crown. I love when people report back to me on their dental visits. I hope y'all brushing y'all teeth and flossing out there. For the last part, we're going to talk about, like I said, this mental health crisis, how everything is in overload mode. We got constant stimulation going on. We got financial pressure right now. Identity confusion is at an all-time high. And there's no time to process anything. All I see is people arguing online. I'm this, I'm that. It's just aggravating at some point. Which is why you have to go get the knowledge for yourself. Dr. Shon can't give it to you. That person can't give it to you. You got to get it yourself. These things that I'm saying is only seeds for you to go and continue to water your spiritual plant. What I'm giving you is just the seeds, some sunlight to water it, some knowledge to help, but you have to be aware of the system and know that if you don't have knowledge, that means you are fit to be a slave. Regardless of what your career is, regardless of if you don't have the knowledge, you are fit to be a slave, right? Because guess what? If you're going to work, you caught up in hustle culture, your kids going to school, everybody damn tired. Think about it. Y'all, you go to school 8 to 5. They're going to work 8 to 5. It's all set up for your kids to learn how to be a worker. And then when they set you up to have this tired mind for the rest of your life, you're easy to control than when you're aware. You're easy to control. Right?
Sidebar, I had a patient tell me the other day, we didn't have so many ADHD kids and people with attention deficits until they started with the vaccine stuff. That's a whole nother subject. So it's a lot going on that's controlling people through the food, through the clothes, through the school, through the church, through your job, through the television, through social media, through everything. It's all meant to take you down, right? So the cost of living is up, wages aren't matching, everything is faster, everything feels heavier. So what do people do? They work harder. They got it where you got to work harder. You got to hustle harder. This is going to keep you in the loop, guys. The only thing that's going to make us get out of this inflation trap, and this trap is us to come together with this knowledge and not just put it on the internet. We got to put this in some legal documents to let these people know we ain't talking no more. We're doing the same thing y'all doing. You try to kill us with a pen, we're going to fight you with the pen. We're going to fight you with the pen. Right? I don't know how that look. I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I'm at the same point where I'm like, damn, this is a lot of evidence. This is a lot of facts. But what do we do? Because right now the U.S. government is ignoring the evidence. They're the ones who wrote the evidence. They know who you are. They already know who you are. They just ignoring it. That's why they're like, hey, let's talk about Epstein trafficking. No, we don't want to talk about us trafficking this whole time. Let's talk about Epstein. Let's throw him under the bus. Oh, let's go over here and start a war with these people. 3 months from now, it's going to be something else distracting you, but it ain't going to be nothing about the truth. Because they know that if these Nietzsche ever wake up, boy, America going to be great, all right. It's going to be great, all right. Because you ain't going to be in control, right? So if the cost of living is rising faster than your income, your time is being devalued. So we need financial literacy, the ownership mindset, and you have to leverage your skills. I have skills like dentistry, doing implants, creating content. You guys have to leverage whatever skill you have. And if you don't have a skill, I need you to go get a skill. If you just training your time for money, what are you training your time? What are you doing? You obviously got a skill at something. Now we got to learn how to transform this into wealth. And knowledge is truly the wealth at the end of the day. So we're going to shift our energy. Just know that you're not stuck. We just need more awareness because knowledge changes everything. Right? The moment you know something like me, all these things that I'm learning and I'm seeing, you can't unknow it. Your brain just works like that. And they have us using, I don't know, probably like 3% of our brain. They blocked it out from kids. When they put you into school, that block your whole brain out. So it says we use about 10% of our brain. Only 10%. So that lets you know you got this big brain on your head. You only use 10% of what it's capable of. But if you don't get knowledge, you don't continue to grow and learn, I'm sure you use less than that. Whenever you get into a routine where you're just doing the same thing for 40 years, you just done turned yourself into an old person. You're working for somebody doing the same thing. Your money ain't going up. You ain't going to be a millionaire. You only use less than 10% of your brain. Let that sink in. If I got this brain, why can't I use all of it? What's preventing me from using all of it? What's preventing you from using all your brain? How can you when you hustling every day? How you going to learn how to use your brain? You see what I'm saying? They want to use your brain to work for their company to make them wealthy. And when it's time for you to use your brain, the only thing you can do is go to sleep because you're tired as hell. You can't even work. You can't even learn your own brain. I know that sounds kind of deep, but the people who understand, it's like it kind of makes sense, right? So we got to reclaim ourselves, guys. And then once you see clearly, you'll stop moving like a slave to the system and start being a creator within the system. Okay? Stop being a slave to the system and be a creator in the system. Whatever that means for you, and your skills and your knowledge and your intelligence, do that. You were not here just to survive. We were here to think, build, to heal, and remember who we are. Right? Think, build, and remember who we are. That's why we were the inventors. We were the creators. We were the creators, guys. That's why they don't want you to use your brain. That's why all of this stuff is going on, because we were the creators, right? It's certain things that you wouldn't be able to use right now if our ancestors had this short ass attention span that we got now, and they didn't have time to sit down and create and think. We wouldn't even be able to have an internet to be able to be distracted on right now, because we made the internet that they trying to colonize now. We created the technology for that. For the GPS, we created the technology for you to do Uber Eats. We created the technology for you to take that trip without having to get out that map. We did that. We created the GPS for the police to even get behind us to harass us. We did that. This is our inventions that they're using and hijacking. They trafficking our inventions even. God dang. It's just sad. So when you think about the situation that you might be going through, whether it's mental, physical, even if you're wealthy but you don't have no knowledge, just know that you got a long way to go. But we were here not to just survive. We were not here just to survive. You are a thinker, a builder, a leader, a healer. Remember who you are. I would never realize that I'm a healer. I have the ability to get people out of pain from having a toothache right now. Sounds like magic, right? That's a healer mentality. I would have never had it if I had gave up. I would never be this person if I had gave up and allowed colonization to tell me who the fuck I am. Something in my spirit, my ancestors, they kept pushing me like, keep going. And every time I got to a point where I didn't have enough to get where I'm going, I got in. A lot of times I got in just because the ancestors was in there pushing for me to get in. It wasn't the perfect setup, but it was meant for me to get here. It had to be meant for one of the Niji to get through, to get to this other level, to wake more people up, right? It had to be, because we invented too much stuff. There's no way that you was just here to survive. How? It's certain things that they couldn't live without. We can't live without right now that our ancestors invented, while they was so-called calling us slaves, while they was prisoners of war, while they was writing the history all wrong, such as, like I said, the traffic light, Garrett Morgan. The traffic light, right? How many of y'all see the traffic light out here? They giving tickets for running lights and stuff. That's our ancestors' invention. The gas mask, the safety hood. That's also Morgan, Garrett Morgan. Firefighters use that. The World War I soldiers use that. Yeah. We got something to do with that. Railway induction telegraph. We did that. A system that allows telegraph messages to be sent between moving trains and stations to prevent collision of the train. See, when you ride on those trains, the MARTA, when you in New York City and you ride on the train, we did that. So the trains won't wreck. We did that. Slave where? Dumb where? The refrigerated truck unit. Frederick McKinley Jones, we did that. This is tied to today's cold chain for food, medicine, blood. We did that. I need y'all to know that. The fire escape ladder. That's all us. Joseph R. Winters. That's us. People have a way to escape from the fire. We did that. You trying to tell me we was over here listening to you? Being colonized? No, we was inventing, but y'all want to stop that because you want to be the inventors, but what are you inventing? Nothing. Automatic elevator doors. When the next time you walk into an elevator, just know that your ancestors did that. Alexander Miles patented an automatic opening and closing mechanism for elevator door shafts, eliminating the deadly risk of opening shafts and shaping modern elevators. Your ancestors did that. Elevator signaling improvements. We did that. We did that. Modern day dry cleaning. When you get your clothes, take your white coat to the dry cleaner, you taking your suit to the dry cleaner. We did that. Thomas Jennings' dry scoring process was a precursor to modern dry cleaning. It's even in the garments. That's all us, boo. Improved traffic control devices. That's all us. Controlling how people moving through the city. So next time you out in the city and you at the light and you enjoying, that's us. Fire safety innovations. We did that. Pacemakers. You know somebody with a pacemaker right now. High precision resistor for pacemakers. Otis Boykin. We did that. We even saving lives with the pacemakers in the heart right now. Don't you ever forget who we are. We did that. The laser Foucault probe for cataracts. Ophthalmologist Patricia Bath invented the laser Foucault probe for doing eye surgery worldwide. That's us. See, we going from the heart to the eyes to the train. This is all us. You know you can create on your own land. Don't ever forget that you are a creator. You came from greatness. Advances in medical electronics. That's us. Early respirator protection. That's us. It's all us. The ticket dispensing machine. That's us. Heating and AC control units. That's us. Temperature control systems. That's us. Must we keep going on? It just goes on and on and on. That's all us, guys. The moral of the story is never forget who you are. You are the creator, the builder. Never forget it. I'm going to go over some other things that is all us. So when you using these things, you know how deep you're going to connect it to your ancestors when you use these things. And it's all, Black History Month, what is that? Every day is our history day. It's Niji History Day every day. The ironing board, that's us. Clothes dryer, you drying your clothes tonight, that's us. The ironing board, Sarah Boone, 1892. This is right around the time y'all was so-called trying to do all these things to us still. George T. Sampson, the dryer design, that's us. You drying your clothes, thank us. Thank you, welcome. You welcome. The detachable self-wringing mop, that's us. Or did you not know? The dustpan, that's us. Thank you, Lloyd Ray. He improved the dustpan that we basically use today with the brooms. That's us. The clothes wringer, us. The egg beater, us. The refrigerator, the stove, oven rack, us. Do we gotta keep going on? I'm gonna keep going on. We already said the AC, us. Heating, us. The folding bed, us. The folding chair, y'all remember the folding chair incident? We invented that. We invented that. The mailbox. Y'all know they said that the post office is going to be running out of money in a year or something, but that's another story. But the home mailbox and street letterbox, that was our ancestors. Y'all using that right now, ain't you? To colonize us. That was us, boy. The flushing the toilet improvements, Thomas Elkins. That was thank you. You could thank us that you don't have to piss on the street anymore, like they was doing when they was in the world where they had the bubonic plague going over there. They was passing all of the diseases, just pissing in and defecating in the streets. You could thank us that you don't gotta do that no more. You can actually use something civilized. Home security system. Guess who? You right. Exactly. You can thank us for that too. Yeah. The hairbrush, you brushing your hair. Guess who did that, boo? Exactly. Us. You get it, friend. You get it. That was us. That was Lyda Newman's design for the brush. The typewriter, the pencil sharpener. John Lee loves portable pencil sharpener and related devices show up in home, office, and school supplies. So when you go into school and you have the pencil sharpener and all these things, you get to us to think. The fact that y'all can use pencils and stuff and writing and stuff, that's us. Y'all trafficking us with our inventions. How? Trafficking our knowledge, trafficking everything. It's just trafficking everything that is us. And then want to say we don't got no culture. What the fuck you mean? All these inventions is culture. What you mean we don't got no culture? Everything you use is our culture. When you dry your clothes, that's our culture. When you stop at the red light, that's our culture. When you wash your clothes, that's our culture. When you go use a toilet stool, that's our culture. I know you want to put the wait a minute, they don't have it. Stop the lie, stop the cap, bro. When you iron your clothes on the ironing board, that's our culture. Come on now. Come on now. When you put your pie in the oven on them baking racks, that's our culture. When you go to your phone and you put it in Google, take me here, that's our culture. Yeah, that's our culture. Don't forget it. Don't forget it. Don't forget it. That's our culture. That's all I'm trying to say. So never let people tell you who you are. Not at all. Never, ever, ever let them tell you who you are. I'm gonna end after this, but toilet tissue holder, when you go to the bathroom and you use that toilet that we invented, when you're using that toilet tissue holder, that's our culture. Shower back washer, that's our culture. Menstrual hygiene products, that's our culture, ladies. So next time you going and you on your girl come in town, you got us to thank for. That's our culture. Mary Beatrice Davidson Kenner sanitary belt with a moisture-proof pocket, greatly improved everyday menstrual hygiene and cleanliness. That's our culture. Don't you ever tell me we ain't got no culture. The hair cleaning systems, Madam C.J. Walker, don't you ever forget. That's us, boo. That's us. She developed widely used shampoos, scalp treatments that improved our hair, scalp cleanliness, and hygiene for melanated women in particular. That's all us. The synthetic bristle hairbrush, us. Soap, detergent, home care formulations, that was all us. That's why you'll see them. We don't know about rags and soap because we invented it. Why would you know about it? Now you're using our culture to try to. This is our culture. This is our inventions. Okay? That's all I'm trying to say. I've been on here a long time. I feel like I'm at my point tonight. I thank y'all for rocking with me tonight. We got up to 33.3K hearts. And Love Loves Me. Y'all make sure y'all follow Love Loves Me. And anybody else who tapped those hearts. I know Love Loves Me got me up there. She Ready 89. And there was another high heart pumper. Let me go back and shout her out. Thank you, Love Loves Me. You are the best. You got the perfect name because you show so much love. Golden Goddess also tapped hella hearts. This is the most hearts we ever met. This is our heart record, 33.3K hearts. That means that y'all was digging what we was putting down, that you enjoyed this topic. We got through a lot of real tough discussions about who we are tonight. And guys, listen, I just have to look out for my people, and I'm talking to my tribe. So I just gotta remind us who we are, because there's a lot of propaganda to try to prevent you from knowing who you are, to make you get caught up in the rat race, the matrix, and caught up in the wheel. And I gotta come on here and remind myself I got a purpose. Dr. Shon has a purpose. Hood to Hooded is more than just a title. I really gotta wake up and eat and breathe this, because it's a war out here. We still at war, guys. I'm just a warrior on the battlefield. That's it. That's it. That's all. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay? Thank you, Lionel Clemens. My YouTube family showed out tonight. My TikTok family showed up tonight. I really appreciate all of you for liking. Hopefully you subscribe, follow, share. Keep coming back. I'm here. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm trying to just be more consistent because I know how important it is. I'm talking to people in my family and I see people are mentally getting drained. People are mentally giving up. I heard something crazy tonight with, little kids unaliving themselves, and we gotta just try to reach these young adults, let them know who they are before they feel like, the world is over. Because I used to feel like that. I used to have those demonic spirits over my life where I feel like I wasn't worth it. I didn't want to be alive. I'm losing my mom, gone. That stuff is traumatizing. It is really traumatizing, and people like to be quiet about this shit. But the one thing that has been the biggest, I would say, the biggest therapy for me has been knowledge and knowing truly who I am. Like, I don't even have that demonic spirit over my life. I just don't no more. And I used to have it all the time. Like, I used to feel so defeated all the time when I was in that colonized Christian mindset. Thought that, like how they say, they made you feel like you got to wait for heaven when you gone off the earth, so you don't have heaven here. The colonizers want you to think that. They don't want you to feel like you can create and invent and be something and learn who you are. And ever since I got rid of that spirit, I've been on like 10. It's nothing can break my spirit no more. I don't give a damn what I lose. Nothing can break me no more, guys. And that's why I want to tell y'all, nothing can break you. Keep them positive vibes going. It's going to be hard. You at war right now. Wake up. You at war. If it's hard, say, you know what? Yeah, I know it's hard, but I'm a warrior. You at war right now. The more knowledge you get, guys, this is your weapon. Use your weapon. Use your resources. Don't just let colonizers just take you out. You feel defeated and now you're working in the hustle. No. Those days got to be over. We got to wake these kids up. Keep telling the truth. I damn sure will. I sure will, guys. You already know. I'm here to tell the truth. And the more and more I tell the truth, the more comfortable I get. Because I do, like I said, I have 99.9% of my family asleep, so I'm the first one speaking out. That could be kind of lonely. But I said, I don't give a fuck. I can't go back to sleep. I can't go back to what I didn't know and act like I'm sleeping. No. I can't do it no more. I read too much. I learned too much about the evil that I can't allow it to control me no more. I can't. I can't do it, guys. So we're going to wrap this up. Y'all got any questions? The chat is open for a few minutes. If not, we're going to be out of here. Thank y'all for tapping the hearts. Yeah. And we on that. We on y'all ass. Yeah. We back. Don't play with us. Talk to them. Let them know. Try to erase us. Pages rip, but they can never replace us. Cause when we go back in them records, we pulling receipts out the bruh. Yeah, receipt after receipt. Don't blink, copper tone of ink. Don't think melanin glisten the sin every day. Turn a lot of moves when we making a play. They don't feel pain till it's them. They don't cry tears till it's them. But when it was us for all those years, they was eating off us, feeding off us cheers. Building empires off stolen breath. Smiling while we starve to death. But the truth don't drown and come back fast. That's why the past keep hunting their ass. That's why the past keep hunting their ass. I need you back. I created this song. I started creating a lot of indigenous melanated music to play in my lives. We have to start creating, guys. That's what I mean. You gotta create some indigenous clothes, create music, create, guys. Okay? Yeah, facts. Been here millions, yeah, billions old. Before your borders, papers, lies got told. Before the ships, before the chains, before they put false names on pain. We the land of bone, the seed. You
can't copyright blood or creed. They try to rename us box of sin, erase the truth and profit then. But memory live in the soil deep. Every mom still got secrets to keep. So when we rise, it's ancestral math. Every step forward, undo the past. We ain't asking, we taking it back. Say it with me, I need you back. Need you back, need you back, need you back.
We back, y'all. We never left.
I need you back. We're still standing.
We still standing.
Whose land?
This our land.
Say it again. Who been here?
We been here.
Who still stand?
We still stand.
Whose land?
This is our land. Yeah. Hey, 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 hey. Don't you ever feel down about nothing. Hold your head up high. Hey, 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 hey. You know we on blast, baby. What? We invented everything. Like what? Y'all better stop hating on us. Heard of Island strong, yeah, facts.
From the soil to the stars, we back. The need you back. Get it going, get it poppin'. Need you ain't stopping.
Hey,
Keep knocking.
hey,
Say it
hey.
clear, say it raw, say it flat. Yeah, yeah. Cause the need you is back, bitch. Yeah. The need you is back.
All right, y'all. We ain't got no questions, so I'm gonna get off of here. This is Dr. Cheap This Sunflower. I will see you guys tomorrow. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. Thank you, Lionel, for all of the love. Yes, Niji Strong. He said the song is fire. So I had somebody earlier, I don't know who requested it, for me to put the Niji songs on YouTube. And I think I'm actually going to put them on YouTube. So if you want to play them when I'm not live or you want to hear them again, you can play them, you know. If you're feeling down, you can kind of connect or whatever. See you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much. Love loves me. You are absolutely the best. I appreciate you so much, man. I really do, because it do get, you know, now I realize I got to go through the valley of silence. It said for 3 to 6 months and be consistent, but I thank y'all for showing up so I don't have to sit here in silence and just talk to nobody. But yes, we are the true Americans. Period. So I will holler at you guys later. Bye.
Yeah. Come on now. Dr. Shon. Yeah.